How you doing, guys? It's your boy, and in today's video, I'm going to be changing some tires, and I'll be tuning up my Jasion EB7 step-through folding electric bike. I'll also give you guys my updated thoughts on the bike. I'll go over everything else that I'm going to be doing as far as the tuning up and all those things and stuff. So if you guys think this video will be hype, then hit that hype button, and let's get right to it. Okay guys, so got all the tools I need for today's project, and I wrote out a little list just so I don't forget anything. And it might not be a full list. There might be some other things like maybe adjusting some aesthetic changes or whatever to the bike. So whatever else comes to mind, I'll put it on the list here. So the first thing we gotta do, we're gonna swap out the tires. I don't technically have new tires in the 20x3s. That's the size that this bike takes. But there's more tread on the front. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to swap out the front tire with the back one. The back one got the flat, as you could probably tell. Honk, honk, squeeze, squeeze. Baby, please.
That's what she said.
And in case this stuff isn't enough, I also got my tool bag. Insert the Mickey Mouse meme.
That's a surprise tool that can help us later.
And without further ado, let's get right to it. Oh, that's loose. That's why it's squeaking. Huh. And if you guys want a more comprehensive video about how to change bike tires and stuff like that, you can check this time card here, or you can check the playlist at the end of the video. And I think the threading's a little off on this one. I might have to swap this out with another nut. Oops, daisy. Yeah, you could probably see that tread is almost completely gone. I don't get flats nearly as often on the front tire though, so I figured swap this out for the better one. Yeah, first things first, let's get all this sand. Oops. Anyway, let's get all this sand and dirt off the tire. Yeah, this kind of stuff would be a little easier with a truing stand. What the heck is that? Let's smell it and find out. Ah, it's chloroform. I'm kidding. We'll clean the rim while we're at it. Cruelty-free, and it gets it clean. We're not spraying the freewheel and any of that other stuff. I got other stuff for that later. Ooh, greasy. Just like one of those Beyond Meat burgers. Yeah, figures I just cut my nails last night. Here we go. Yeah, I gotta say, I've only had this bike for, what, coming up 3 months? Like 2.5, 3 months. And the fact that this back tire is already worn out like that. Don't get me wrong, I put a lot of miles on these bikes, because, you know, I do gig work on my electric bikes for anyone that's new here. But, yeah, this should have lasted a little longer. Maybe I'll pick up some Kendas. Those are pretty good. Alright, good enough for now. There we go. Alright, pop goes the weasel. Okay, I found the culprit. There she is. So what I'll do, I'll put a patch on after I get this tube cleaned up, and I'll save this for another time, because I have a new tube, and I'd rather put that on for now. Hi, Lucy. Want to say hi to everybody? There she is. Look at that beautiful face. Oop. Pretty girl. Gotta give me one of them patchy watchies. Little scuffer tool. And some rubber cement. And this is what you call scoring. I learned that from art class when I used to make those clay projects. That was one of my favorite classes in school, hands down. You can also use those self-adhesive patches, because, you know, a little less work, less messy. I don't think they stick quite as well, though. So whenever I wake up to a flat in the morning, I usually use this stuff, and I'll bring the self-adhesives while I'm on the road. Getting a little utility from both. Alright, and that'll be the surprise tool that can help us later.
That's a surprise tool that can help us later.
Not like later in the video, just like later. Anyway. And ta-da! So one trick that I like to do whenever I'm changing tires, I showed this in the tire change video as well, I inflate it just enough to give it some structural integrity. That way I can just slot it right inside the rim. Makes it a little easier in my opinion. And that way the valve doesn't pop back out. I'll just put the cap on. No capping up in here. I like to make sure the threading around the edges of the tire is evenly lined up around the rim. Otherwise, it'll inflate the tire unevenly and then create air bubbles, and that pretty much ruins the tire. That would be quite a tiring experience, if you know what I mean. Alright, let's set it to 40 psi and let her rip. Wait a minute. I totally forgot. I'm supposed to swap this tire out for that one. Whoops-a-daisy. Let's try this again. Yeah, before I get too ahead of myself, let that finish deflating. Let's get this wheel off, and then we'll take it from there. Whoops-a-daisy. What does this thing and I have in common? We're nuts. Ta-da! Yeah, you can see that hub cone and the bearings look pretty dirty, so I'm gonna use that degreaser that I got. What the? No! Okay, there we go. Ah! What the? No! Man, they really bolted this thing down tight, didn't they? Ah! Oh, ouch. Uh-oh, I got a boo-boo. Gotta go to Weenie Hut General.
What happened?
I slipped on an ice cube and got covered in boo-boos.
Boo-boos, eh? I think you guys want that hospital.
Weenie Hut General!
Okay. First aid to the rescue. I bring one of these with me while I'm on the go as well. And it actually came in handy a few weeks ago. It was a few weeks ago, I was on my other bike, riding around, doing some Uber Eats for an Uber Eats video. You can check the time card up here if you want as well. And I actually went down a parking lot, and there was like no lights at all. Oh, it's still bleeding, hold on. It was like so dark, man, and even though I was going pretty slow, I actually hit a curb. I fell about 7-8 feet, somewhere around there. I landed on my hand like that. Like, it fell right about here, and oof, that was pretty painful. I still get a little bit of pain whenever I'm creating shear on the wrist like that. Like, I could feel it still, but it's gotten a lot better. It's gotten a lot stronger. Like, I can actually use this thing now, so that's a big difference. And it's probably a little runny, because I did take some aspirin. And that stuff thins your blood a little bit. Alright, there we go. Figures it's on the middle finger. Alrighty, good to go. Yeah, let me try another one of my hex keys. Whenever I think of these hex keys, or Allen wrenches, whatever you want to call them, I think about the hex girls from Scooby-Doo. You guys know what I'm talking about? I'm a hex girl, and I'm gonna put a spell on you. I'm gonna put a spell on you. Maybe I'll try something different. I guess on the bright side, probably means I never have to really tighten these bolts again. Let's go with some degreaser. Now, technically, it's good to have grease on your hub cone and the bearings, but there's a lot of grime and everything, so I'm going to use my degreaser to remove all of that. And I'm going to use this stuff for the back wheel later on. Yeah, you see, there's a lot more tread on this front tire. That's why I'm going to swap it out for the back one. And I'm also being a bit of a cheapskate because I don't wanna buy new tires. Yep. Whoopsie daisy. It's like dribbling a basketball. I actually was pretty good at basketball back in middle school, but I was more drawn to football. And then I ran out of friends who liked football, and I was like, alright, whatever. Yeah, these nuts feel a little loose. Giggity. So I'm gonna whip out my hub cone wrench and tighten them. You don't want it too tight, otherwise it's gonna compress the bearings too much. And it's also gonna be like a tighter rollout, so want it just tight enough to where it doesn't loosen up for a while, you know? Alright, here's the back tire. What's going on the front rim? After I clean up the other side of the hub cone. Noise.
Nice.
I can actually build bicycle wheels too. I actually built the wheel on that Iota Juliet bike that I have out there because I had a lot of motor problems with it in the past. And what I did a live stream where I was actually building the wheel while I was tuning the bike. If you want to check that out sometime after this video, you visit the time card here. Alright, set it back to 40. And one wheel down, one to go. When I'm putting the tire back on the rim, I usually use my hands, but you can also use the tire lever not just to take the tire off the rim, you can also use it to put it back on the rim. So if you have like a piece of it sticking out very tight, then you can just press it in and just push and then go around until it's on. All right, set it to 40 PSI. And all right, we got the other wheel, but we're not gonna put them back on just yet. We're gonna clean the frame and do some other things and stuff. But before we get to that, if you guys are enjoying this video so far, just hit that like button, consider subscribing, leaving a comment down below, doing all those great things and stuff. So, without further ado, you know what we gotta do. Definitely glad I bought this bike. I'm getting pretty good mileage from it. Maybe not like literally mileage, because it is a small battery, which is really my only main problem with this thing, which I do know about, right? When I first bought this thing, I know it came with a small battery. I was like, yeah, you know, I'll make the most of it, see if I can jerry-rig a bigger battery on it. I haven't quite done that yet, but maybe sometime down the line. I haven't done it as often lately, but I started picking up on the habit of wiping the frame after I'm done using the bike for the day. I actually got that idea from a channel called Watt Hustles. If you guys want to check him out, I'll show a screen here. Maybe I'll put a time card to one of his videos. Definitely check him out, show him some love for me. Yeah, not so much grime in that front fork, so I think we're okay with that for now. Usually if there's a lot of like grime and dirt and everything in the front fork, I'll put fork oil in it. But in order for the fork oil to actually get inside, I'd have to flip the bike over and pump it in, right? So I got to unlock the front fork. That way I can pump it in. Pump it up, pump it, just like that song.
You got to pump it up.
But this isn't too bad, so I'll skip over that for now. Yeah, this bike does come with rear suspension, as you guys can probably see. It definitely adds a nice layer of comfort whenever I'm riding. As you figure, I'm out for like hours at a time, and I don't want a sore hiney, so I definitely appreciate that rear suspension. I also added a suspension seat post. It's pretty soft, and I got a cruiser saddle on it, just a nice big fat cruiser saddle, so it feels like I'm sitting on a cloud. Unless you don't mind sitting on a rock for like 5-6 hours at a time. No thank you. You guys probably noticed too, I put a front basket. It's not one of those bolted down aluminum front baskets, but I just got one of those cheap folding ones from Walmart. Trying to get a little utility out of it. I figure I can put a lot of my tools and put my water bottle, other stuff in it. Maybe even fit something like a McDonald's order, which I've done a couple times. It's definitely useful. It's not very durable though. As you can see, it's quite flimsy. So that's more of a segue towards getting one of those bolt down crates later on. You definitely don't want to spray the chain or the gears with this stuff, however. That's going to dry it up too much. And you don't want those components to be dry. You want them to be degreased and lubed up. That way it doesn't, just like chafe and scrape everything, or parts start to seize. Baby, please. That would not be good. That'd be no bueno. I mean, if you do get this cleaning spray or like furniture polish on the chain, the cogs or whatever, just wipe it off and then degrease, lube up, and you're good to go. Sounds like a Friday night.
Okay, insert rod support A into slot B.
That's what...
If you say that's what she said one more time, I'm gonna pop you.
Okay, not 100%, but ta-da! And the next thing I want to do is I want to adjust the mechanical brakes, because this bike came with mechanical disc brakes. It's not like the hydraulic ones that you could find on that Juliet bike out there, but you figure mechanical brakes, there's usually less pistons, the brake pads, they're not as thick, there's not as much stopping power, and hydraulic brakes, they self-adjust. But they're also a lot more expensive. Mechanical brakes are usually like a third of the price, quarter of the price even, for some decent ones. And as long as you know how to adjust them and tune them up, then you're good to go. Like this dial right here, for example, this adjusts the amount of slack on the cable. So as you can see, it's moving the cable up and down just like that. And then you got your hex screws. This helps tighten the piston, or you can loosen the piston if it's too tight. So I want to tighten it just a little bit. There we go. And the brake pads are actually in decent shape, so I probably don't need to take them out yet. But just in case, I do have a set of them for later on. Want to make sure I'm getting all the braking power that I can, so we're tightening the piston a little bit. I'll actually put the wheel on first, then I'll tighten the piston. And of course, you don't want to forget your washers and your nuts. Okay, so I'm going to have to readjust this a little bit just to make sure that brake pad is centered with the brake rotor. Okay, that's an improvement. And you guys might have noticed too, I actually put a grill on the back of the bike. And I did that so I could start putting that big bag that I have on the back of it. So I figured this bike is rated somewhere between, I think they said like 300 to 350 pounds. Like one source says that, another source said 350. So I figured somewhere in the middle. And honestly, it's getting the job done as far as getting those heavier, bulkier items and DoorDash orders and whatnot. So this is definitely doing a better job compared to the DJ bike, which is a lot smaller. Can't hold quite as much, This bike is definitely pulling its weight, pun intended. Don't want to forget your washers. The brake pad on the rear mechanical disc brake is also in decent shape still too. Although I'll probably have to change that one out first. And just so you guys know, I didn't forget the valve caps. We're going to be putting these back on. I'm going to be putting these nut caps back on as well, after I put them on with the washers. The cable of the rear light actually did rip the other day, so unfortunately I'm without a brake light on this bike. But I'll have to figure out how many pins that I can get with it and just buy a new one. They're pretty cheap. Figure run me like, what, 15, 20 bucks? Whoopsie daisy. Alright, now we just gotta do finishing touches, and we'll take it from there. The main thing left is to degrease the freewheel and chain, and then oil it up. So, oil take care of that.
Oh, brother, this guy stinks!
Whenever I degrease and oil up the chain and the gears, what I like to do is use the gear shifter. That way it flushes all that oil and the degreaser onto each gear. So instead of just spraying it and, willy-nilly, that's it. It's going to send everything from the chain into each individual gear. So, it also helps make sure that the gearing is set up properly too. So that's a neat little trick I like to do. I'll show you. So as you can see, it sent all of that degreaser onto each gear. And what I'll do, I'll spray it one more time. Just get a little more in there. And then put a little on the chain. And now let's try it again as I shift the gears up. Alright, every gear and the chain has been degreased. And then oil up the chain just a little bit. And then I'll just slobber some oil on there like that. And then do the whole thing all over again. And it's sending all that oil onto each gear. So that just makes sure that everything is nice and lubed up.
Giggity, 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 giggity. Ooh, ee, ooh, ah, ah, ting, tang, walla, walla, bing, bang. Ooh, ee, ooh, ah, ah, ting, tang, walla, walla, bing, bang.
And then let's put the gears back up. And good to go. Okay guys, so I was going to film my outro just now, but unfortunately my GoPro ran out of battery. Both batteries ran out, by the way. And it's pretty heckin' hot out here, so that would probably explain it. But anyway, as you can tell, we're all done for the day. Bikes are back in the garage, my tools and everything put away, we cleaned up. And of course, the main event, where we got to tune up the bike, and we changed the tires. Well, sort of changed the tires. I know we just flipped them around, so I didn't technically put new tires on, because, gotta pinch those pennies, am I right? But anyway, we're good to go, and hope you guys enjoyed today's video. If you'd like to see more of these, let me know in the comment section down below. If you guys enjoyed today's video, feel free to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel if you're enjoying the content, and consider hitting that hype button. That's supposed to help push my videos out to more people, and just basically help with the algorithm. Push it out to more people, keep building the channel, more fans, more content. You get the idea. Anyway, last but not least, before I go, consider getting a channel membership with us. It's only 99 cents. That's less than $12 for the whole year to get some of the corniest emojis on the internet and other exclusive benefits like early exclusive content. But anyway, I love you guys. Appreciate you continue supporting my channel. And I'll see you next time. Take care.